Hi guys, welcome to 1UX1. Today I'm going to show you how we work in sprints. So usually a sprint will be 1 week or 2 weeks in length, and there's different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you three examples so that you can start to understand what a sprint looks like if you've never worked in one, and how teams develop products using the sprint cycle. So here's the first one, which is the most simplified version of a sprint board, and it just has 4 columns. And in these columns, I'll explain how Trello works, or you may use a different software. But in here, what you're going to have is you're going to have these columns, and each column is one of the parts of the process of completing the sprint. And the sprint might be Monday to Friday, or it may be 2-week cycle. And each one of these, you'll see and notice that you have these sections, and they're called cards. And a card, somebody is responsible for that task in that particular card. Now, you can have as many cards as you like, and you can assign as many people as you like to each card. Now, in this particular sprint, you've got this in progress column, which is what obviously you're working on right now and who's responsible for that. But then also you have things that you've already developed and you want to start testing them. You have the column for testing, and you have one for tested, which is the third column, and finally you have code review. Now, what you need to notice here is that some of these are going to be longer and busier because there's more tasks being carried out, and others are review. Now, the review ones in a sprint board are usually at the end, because obviously that's the code is being checked, is being reviewed and tested to ensure that there's no bugs and no issues. The next one is a bit more detailed, and it starts with a product backlog, i.e. is there anything in what we call an icebox? An icebox is things that we need to do, we're going to think about, we're going to have a meeting and review and see if we need to carry those tasks out. And also you have a sprint backlog. So you have product backlog, i.e. the bigger picture of what products you want to develop, and then the sprint one is what we're going to be taking forward in the following weeks. Blockage, or blockers as we call them, are things that can't go forward yet because there's something, a dependency, some issue that's not allowing it to move forward. For example, maybe a member of staff that's not available, or there's no manager to sign it off, or a technical issue, you don't have the software. So blockers is another column that we have in these sprints so that everybody knows why things are not moving forward. What's in progress is, again, anybody could be responsible for any one of these particular cards here, and they will be accountable for that within that 1 week or 2 week sprint. Review, you'll always have a review column in a sprint to see what's been done and what needs to be just run over, reviewed, tested. It might be usability testing, it might be a code review by a developer with a colleague, another developer is double check that work and review it. And then you have a done column. Now, why do we have a done column in a sprint board? That's because obviously we want to see what we've done, but we want to review that in a review and retrospective. We want to go back and say what went well, www, and EBI, even better, if what could we have done better, what could we have improved on that. Now, the last Trello board I want to show you is a bit more detailed, but it has the same 2 columns to start with: product backlog and sprint backlog. So that's fine. We already know what that is, all about the backlog work. Then the next one is in the column is something we need clarity on. So it may be that we need to hold a workshop or a meeting because they need elaboration on something. So you keep that in the elaboration column. Then we need to know in the sprint what is in implementation. What are we implementing at the moment? What is happening currently at this phase, at this time, this day? And then those that have been implemented and done. And then once this column of implementation is done, we move it to the next column, which is UAT, usability or user acceptance testing. So we're going to test it with real users and see what the feedback is. And then we have a column for ready for releases. These are ones that are ready, produced, and ready to release and launch to the world. And then we have a final column here of released. These are the ones that have gone out to the world, gone live, and are actually working. We need to keep our eyes open on those. There could be bugs and issues and crashes and complaints from users, i.e. not good user experience. And then you have a column, and in that column you may have testimonials, comments, feedback from your colleagues and managers. This is really important, that on each person in a sprint and Trello has their own menu and their own adaptable menu that you can customize to what you want to see, what messages you want to get, what notifications you want to get. I hope that was well helpful, guys. I really want you to subscribe so you can learn more about UX design and UX research. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, guys.